this is of particular importance to us. We do believe that civil society and the parliament have a very critical role for our success. Without you, the executive branch can't get away with anything. Now, what do we really believe are the critical success factors that we have to unite behind? Because these are not simply negotiable for us as developing countries. The first fundamental that we have to agree on and fight for is the issue of the 1.5 degrees Celsius and the 350 ppm. And the centrality of this is because a deal that cannot safeguard humanity and nature is not a deal that we should entertain in the first place. Those who articulated a perspective and tried to persuade us that the 2 degrees Celsius is a sound choice have made a trade-off between life, humanity, and profit and rent-seeking pursuits. It has no base in science. The very reports that they try to persuade us that they're based on do not support their case. The IPCC AR4 says that 2 degrees Celsius will result in Africa warming up to 3.5. And the small islands, the states, equally being threatened by the sea level rise. I would say this, and I'll say it with absolute conviction. 2 degrees Celsius is certain death for Africa, is certain devastation of island states. A policy decision maker, a scientist who try to do that is definitely not only ill-advising others, he is ill-advising himself. So that's one fundamental, if not the starting proposition for beginning a sound negotiations and discussions. Second issue is the issue of reductions of emissions. There must be radical reductions of emissions, starting from now. in our view, by 2017, we should cut, developed countries must cut by 52%, 65% by 2020, 80% by 2030, well above 100 by 2050. And this is very important because the more you defer action, the more you condemn millions of people to immeasurable suffering. So the idea that you start from 4% today and you achieve 80 or 50 in 2050 simply means that you do not care about the lives of those who will be devastated in this period until you pick up the pace. And this is one of the reasons we have asked the American administration, the American people, President Obama, to join the efforts and to join Kyoto Protocol. We must defend Kyoto Protocol. And those who think that not defending Kyoto Protocol is the way forward are totally misguided. Because if you eliminate the balance of obligations between developed and developing countries, and I will say this to our colleagues from Western civil society, you have definitely sided with a small group of industrialists and their representatives in your executive branches. Nothing more than that. You have become an instrument of your governments. Whatever you say, whether you think it's because it's tactically shrewd or not, it's an error that you should not continue to make. Having said that, we do believe equally that a very significant and substantial financial package, both for short-term and long-term, is necessary. How do we define that? It's simple. We must avail, or developed countries must avail in the next 5 years, fast-track financing. That fast-track financing is at the equivalent of 1% of the GMP of developed countries. It's around $400 to $500 billion, depending on what happens to their economies. Of this, $150 billion can be issued with immediate effect, because as we speak today, the IMF is sitting over $283 billion worth of SDRs